Couple getting the shock of their lives when they got an alert from their security camera in the driveway.
This looks like a person with his arm sticking out.
Really unusual. I've never ever seen anything like it.
I was like, wow. I mean, that is an angel.
Check out what was spotted over the skies of Las Vegas a few weeks ago.
We've always felt an otherworldly presence, but imagine seeing it up close. From celestial beings finally removing their invisibility cloaks to bizarre phantoms of the sky. Here are some supernatural captures that will rock your brain.
It's coming from the sky.
A man kept hearing rustling outside his window, so he pulled out his phone to record, and almost instantly knew he'd captured something great. The angelic figures quickly descended and looked a bit too realistic until they noticed they were being filmed and whizzed out of sight. Here's the thing, as many sightings as we've seen, I don't really know where to go with this one. On one hand, the angelic features look a bit too convincing, which is suspicious. But multiple sources claim the video hasn't been tampered with. What do you think?
It's coming from the sky.
Peekaboo. You know what would be crazy? Finding out there's an entire world up there on the clouds, easily hidden from our view, and the residents all look like angelic beings. Look who's peeking out from behind the cloud. Yet another angel sighting that was anonymously uploaded, but for good reason. The uploader claimed he didn't want people to rush to the area, implying that they certainly would have harmed whoever lives there. Well, I get the idea, but I wish I could have seen more of it. Red Bull's wings. Do angels really look like humans, but with majestic wings? Well, you might get an answer now. Just look at this. Two angels emerging from the clouds, and after a few seconds of aimlessly flying in the sky, hiding behind other clouds. Now, I know most would jump on the bandwagon and claim it's just two people playing dress-up. But how on earth do you explain their unique and rather supernatural ability to fly? Even if we argue it's just being filmed from such an angle, there aren't any visible indicators of this being a casual play. The most mysterious part, though, the video has been uploaded across platforms, but the identity of the original poster remains a secret. So, we have no idea who witnessed angels in the works. Cloaked horror. UFOs, aliens, UAPs, and now we've got mythical creatures right off from Hogwarts Express. Seriously, can this get any worse? This ghastly figure was spotted flying over an undisclosed location, and it bears a stark resemblance to the Dementors in Harry Potter. It even turned its direction after a while, and a little zoom shows us it's clearly something alive, or as much as it can be. We've got a couple of theories. It might be a prank, someone might have edited this, but as far as I know, the video hasn't been tampered with. And we've got no physical cues to suggest it's something being controlled like a drone or a kite. Oh man, I need a chocolate bar. Bolivian's Firemaster. A Bolivian man panned the camera to the sky to capture the reflection of pink lights when he accidentally captured a dragon-like being floating across the clouds. Although it lasted just a few seconds, the visual is clear as day. What's even more surprising is that the man didn't even realize he filmed this magnificent find until he rewound the footage to show it to a couple of friends. We've long established that dragons are just a myth. But what if they did exist and simply took to the skies? Phantom's Wake. If I was on a flight and saw this, I'd be praying to my deities. Seeing four mysterious figures casually floating in the air, no matter how angelic they look, is something we'd rather stay away from. The unique sight only lasted a couple of seconds, but it's not the only one of its kind. Apparently, these ghostly figures have been observed for a few decades. Passengers aboard flights cruising across continents often see such mystical beings, typically simply floating in the air, as if they've got no care for the world. But their identity remains a mystery. Imposter syndrome.
Actually, I don't know.
Filmed and uploaded anonymously, the site has baffled thousands for a few weeks.
What is that?
And we're still scratching our heads. A humanoid figure floating in the sky, almost as if it knows we can't reach it. Watch for a little longer. You'll see how it eventually morphs into a man-like being, something akin to supernatural gods. I wonder if maybe that's what Zeus looks like.
This looks like a person with his arm sticking out.
Maybe such beings always existed, but because they've managed to stay hidden for so long, we believed they were myth. Seraphic adventure. You know how some people state that there are layers to the sky, where some divine beings float in between? Well, we might have just captured that. Take a look at this. This was captured by a passenger aboard a plane, who initially observed the angelic figure a couple of miles back. But by the time they'd whipped out the camera, the plane had accelerated several knots, and the figure was nowhere to be seen, until the passenger spotted the angelic figure once again, and this time was able to capture it on camera. You may argue it's just a bird, but at that height and angle, I'd say it's time to recite some verses. Down
Look at
to
this
earth.
cloud in the sky. Is that not an angel or what?
You know you're doing good in life when you've got a guardian angel keeping an eye over you. Corey Heron was driving to work when he spotted an angelic figure slowly following him. Heron immediately slammed the brakes and went on Facebook Live,
Believe me if I didn't do this live, but I want you to look at this cloud in the sky. That's what I'm looking at, right?
where he showed the angel disguised as a cloud. Although countless initially claimed it was just a uniquely shaped cloud, Heron maintained it was moving otherwise. That's when thousands poured in, claiming they'd seen a similar sight, and that it was a sure sign of divine protection. Well, I'm glad he was heard. At least now he has millions backing his claim.
Believe me if I didn't do this live, but I want you to look at this cloud in the sky. That's what I'm looking at, right?
Alien Lane. These strange lights can't be explained by rockets or anything that we know of. And the fact they're blatantly making their way to the ground means whoever is manning the objects is no longer afraid to hide. This was filmed by drivers crossing the I-8 and I-10 junctions, so you know it's close to home. The unique sight started off with 3 individual flared sources, but mid-flight, one of them disappeared, leading to eerie theories. One such theory claims there were 3 UFOs, but they combined and morphed into one bigger one, kind of like Transformers. The second and much spookier theory suggests all UFOs disappearing from sight was them actually descending to the ground, and whatever was in them is walking the earth right now. Divine flutter. Is it just me, or is that a fairy? Captured and uploaded anonymously, the video has long muddled viewers and has remained unresolved to this date. The mysterious fairy-like creature emerged out of nowhere, and though it pans a little bit toward the camera, we can tell by the size and angle that it's insanely huge. Nothing like the cute caricatures we've seen over the years. Of course, the minute it was uploaded, chaos ensued. Some argued it was just a moth filmed at an unusual angle, but no matter how particular you pick up the camera, it isn't going to make a moth look like that. Others suggested it really was a fairy, but added that it drastically differed from our usual interpretation, showing how vividly creepy mythical creatures can be. Either way, this is pretty convincing footage. Oceana's headache. This unusual figure cruised Australian skies and was responsible for numerous cryptid sightings across Sydney. The spooky figure resembled a woman, prompting conspiracy theories about supernatural beings in the world. It's possible it's a divine being making its way down, or could easily be a demon that's overlooking its target. Some joked the land down under was finally getting a glimpse of what life is on the other end. But everything aside, the sight is creepy and spooky enough to convince many, including myself, that we are not alone in this world. Celestial curiosity. There's nothing to see here, folks. Just Zeus molding the sky into a heart-stopping terror. This might not be your usual alien invasion, but it's certainly spooky enough to make you step on the gas pedal now, isn't it? I wonder if it's a creepy wormhole, ready to suck you in the minute you drive underneath. Or maybe it's something akin to a tornado, but one that engulfs anything in sight, leaving nothing behind. Even for meteorological phenomena, this is incredibly terrifying. I'm just glad I'm not the one manning the wheels. I would have fainted for sure. Fitted for mystery. All right, we've known for a while that aliens probably visit Earth routinely to check up on us, but we've managed to stay hidden until now. It's one thing to blatantly spy over us, and another to stay out in the open, easily visible, as if they're taunting us. This mysterious tail-like object made appearances across numerous states, and thankfully, we've got a good view of it. Although we could attribute this thing to a giant plastic sheet typically wrapped up over crops, the way the unidentified object floats seamlessly suggests it has a better grasp over its environment, and even might be steering itself. And here's another theory why it's not just winds blowing something to the surface. The unique object ascended to the skies and disappeared later. Celestial ejection. Somebody check on Mr. Bean! You may think I'm joking, but doesn't that look like the exact UFO that took Mr. Bean with it? I mean, I'd freak out if the sky just split open and outpoured a mysterious light, glowing ever so ominously, as if the mysterious aliens above us are looking for a great test subject. This was filmed less than a year ago in Shenyang, China, and was spooky enough to actually stop the traffic. Of course, citizens were baffled, but still wanted to capture the sight. And here's where it gets spookier. The skies had been quite foggy in the area, so it's unlikely whatever they spotted could actually be rediscovered. Zen vision. Imagine looking up at the sky and seeing Buddha staring back at you. This unique situation took up reality for citizens in Thailand, who were shocked to see a Buddha apparition clearly outlined against the clouds, positioned as if it was motioning toward the citizens. When the video went viral, almost everyone initially assumed it was fake. However, since then, countless have rebuked the theory, suggesting it might just be an apparition, or even a cloud shaped oddly so. Either way, the entire ordeal is pretty unsettling. Or maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Phantom's Promenade. I think this is the true spirit of Moana. Citizens in a small city in Thailand spotted a ghostly figure emerging from the clouds in the early throes of the morning. Naturally, the sight was rather perplexing for those heading to work. Some joked the figure was the spirit of Te Fiti, the popular goddess shown in Moana, while others were more serious and called it a sign from God, claiming it was a guardian angel that had descended from the skies to keep a watchful eye. Some said it was a cloud, but one that moves as eerily as that? I'm thinking no. Khan's spirit. Uh-oh, looks like the Mongols are back. You might call me crazy, but that ghostly figure looks exactly like a Mongol warrior donning armor, heading toward us on horseback. Well, if that's the case, the only thing we can do is hope the ghoulish figure doesn't come to life. The sight was recorded in Russia, where countless immediately connected the dots. Although it's easy to claim it's just a cloud, witnesses later confirmed that the apparition even moved, and not in a way you'd attribute to winds. Residents claim that even if it was something that hid behind the clouds, it certainly was eerie.
Honestly,
Doomsday's vessel.
honestly, this is really strange.
This might just be the most daunting UFO you'll ever see. And honestly, it's a sight that will keep you up for days. David Nickel was touring Las Vegas when he spotted ominous glowing lights peering into the ground.
Yo, this is serious. Like, this is crazy. It's huge. It's not just a little...
He immediately broadcasted the scenario on Facebook Live. Some suggested it might just be a balloon or maybe a reflection of a nearby building. But nope, if you look closely, it's oddly shaped like an aircraft, and one that we certainly haven't seen yet. Some people commented how it could be a secret aircraft currently being tested by the government. But why on earth would they fly it out to the busiest city in Nevada instead of going to the middle of nowhere? Exactly. The weird craft hovered for a while until it rose into the clouds and disappeared. Crystal vision. This will blow your mind. We've heard a lot about UFO sightings. We've even seen some, but the biggest complaint remains the same. Almost every UFO sighting looks like it was recorded by a faulty camera being held by a toddler. Until now. Now, I know they're a bit stereotypical, saucer plate UFOs, but there must be a reason why we've assumed aliens travel in massive saucers, isn't there?
Bro, my heart just sank.
I think UFOs have always visited the Earth, but since we've got very limited visuals, some of which might be purposefully wiped out, we haven't really taken them seriously. Well, that changes today. Spellbound. In 2006, residents in Monterrey, Mexico, witnessed a bruja descending from a high cliff and mounting on something resembling a broom. Rather stereotypical, isn't it? But just look how she whizzes past the cloud and seems to be effortlessly gliding through, almost as if she's cutting the skies in half. Dubbed the Monterey Witch, this ghostly figure was thankfully captured on camera, although the quality is a bit low. Although we can't really predict what it is, it's safe to say whatever is out there is still lurking behind the shadows. Glow Show. This looks like the beginning of a sci-fi movie. But no matter how hard you convince yourself, this is reality. The peculiar glowing orb zoomed through the skies in Tucson, but was witnessed by numerous residents across Arizona. Although we're only seeing a glimpse of this flashy orb disintegrating into the darkness, sightings have been reported for decades. And even this one lasted a few minutes, although we could only capture a small part of it. Before you even think about it, it's neither a meteor nor a rocket ship. This was confirmed by local authorities who claimed the skies were clear that night. Well, if it is an alien invasion. Sunburnt.
Shit, what the hell is that?
This is what happens when you fly too close to the sun there, Icarus. The glowing entity made a dramatic appearance in Greenwood, Indiana in 2015. The unique phenomenon remained airborne for about 2 minutes, during which it gave onlookers quite the show.
What the hell?
So what is it? A heavenly spirit cascading to the skies, peering out from behind the clouds to keep us all in check? Or maybe we're seeing a real-life lightsaber fight going on up there. The way it's playing hide and seek with us, I'm convinced it's something alive, even if it seems unlikely. Many claim it's a meteorological phenomenon, while others suggest it's proof of extraterrestrial life. But hey, maybe it's a bit of both. Who says we can't have the best of both worlds?
What
Divine design. We've heard about waves being split open, but what would you do if you spotted the sky dividing into two? This bizarre situation morphed into reality for countless living in Russia, where early morning walks came coupled with a startling V-shaped section in the sky. It almost looks as if God decided to erase a part of the sky. A few onlookers joked it might have been a glimpse of the telescope aliens are using to keep an eye on us, but more serious folks suggested it was akin to something far more sinister. And here's something that'll keep you up at night. Just a few days before being seen in Russia, this V-shaped phenomenon was also observed in Mexico, thousands of miles away. Stalker's Orb.
A lot of interest on social media tonight. Check that out.
You know something is off when news channels in Texas are covering UFOs. A little over some months ago, residents in a small neighborhood in Texas swore about being stalked by a mysterious UFO. But their plight remained unheard until the mysterious UFO made its appearance again, and this time was recorded by countless people. While it's unusual for national aircraft to zoom through the neighborhood, no such activity took place during that particular time. Plus, it's not like our airplanes are always just floating over strangers' houses randomly, like this one, and it's clearly staking out that neighborhood. When the news channel picked up the story, authorities came forward to clear their involvement. Well, that's certainly scary.
Over the internet, it seems, and we had similar sightings.
Illuminati. This video made the rounds just a few months ago. Posted anonymously, the video owner claimed they thought that they were recording the moon, but it turned out to be something more extraterrestrial. The bright orb seemed to be stationed right above the New Mexico highway, where countless assumed it was debris from the Falcon 9 launch. Yet, the launch occurred 3 to 4 days before this was recorded, and although it's entirely plausible, the timing just doesn't make sense. The curious cameraman kept a steady grip, hoping to capture and identify whatever this object was. Glowing ominously, the orb even kept stationary for a while, until it suddenly diminished and seemed to move in the opposite direction. This is when the video owner claimed the mysterious orb burst into a bright flash and dissipated. I can't figure out what it is. What do you think? Aeromaly.
I don't know what that is.
That is some weird shit.
Pilots spend a significant portion of their lives flying, so who knows what kinds of things they've seen up there. Well, you might want to take a look. This mysterious light formation can't just be attributed to some scientific phenomenon. Although most of us would take the logical route and claim it's probably some sort of reflection, the pilot recording this claimed he'd never seen anything like this. It's also not a fleet of planes, although they do move similarly. Judging by the height of the plane and the knots it was traveling, the pilot believes it wouldn't have been your usual aircraft. If there are aliens, they certainly like being organized. Phantom's Trail. When numerous passengers reported seeing a mysterious cloud-like orb following them around, the government knew it had to step in. Almost immediately, forces were deployed to figure out what it was. They cruised over the US skies, traversing the same area where witnesses had claimed to see it. And here you go. Believe it or not, they actually encountered such an object and instantly forced it down. Now, here's the thing. Authorities claimed it was just a spy balloon that made its way from you-know-where. But no such debris was found, and we haven't really discussed the situation ever since. Maybe it's stored in Area 51. Eyeballing it. Check out this strange floater, suspended in midair as if it's always been there. This peculiar sight was captured in Montana just a little over a year ago. And although we've heard a few theories, its identity has remained a mystery. Some took it as normal. But what if they were minute aliens trying to make themselves visible? Theories range from trails of smoke to flying plastic sheets or aliens falling, but its eerie stillness against raging winds suggests something far more extraordinary. Sweeping soar.
Hey, so out making deliveries, and what is this? There's a floating broom.
Whose magical broomstick is that? Let's dig out what it is. This was captured early in the morning by a school bus driver who was waiting for students to file in. Naturally, this sight was peculiar enough for the driver to record it. And now we've got our sights on the possible witch's broom. Maybe the witch parked it there at night and got too drunk to notice. Even if we were to assume that it isn't some magical contraption, how on earth can a simple broom, remain suspended in the air? It's not a prank either. No wires or anything. It's definitely magic, folks. The mothership. These ships take high tide to a new level. This fleet of ghost ships, or whatever you want to call them, were observed in Poland. And yes, they're literally floating above the sea. Imagine that, just seeing a bunch of intimidating ships heading out to their destination with nothing but the air to guide them. It's almost like they're being controlled by some weird UFO technology. Well, we've actually got a logical explanation behind this one. Believe it or not, this is a pretty common occurrence. This is called Fata Morgana and is a type of optical illusion that makes it look like something that's actually on the sea is touching the sky instead. But I bet seeing it is quite unsettling. Imagine all the sailor stories it might have started. Invasive disappearance.
Right, I don't know what that is.
There's never been clearer footage of an unidentified aerial phenomena. Just look at this. Citizens noticed this peculiar aerial formation zooming across the sky, sometimes close to midnight in Charlotte, North Carolina. And while most of us would be quick to point out it's just a plane, hold on to your horses. Leaving behind multiple streaks in its wake, the mystery object can't be a plane because it was first witnessed descending vertically until it switched gears and changed position.
Flying over downtown. Oh, snap.
According to witnesses, such a transition is difficult for most fighter planes. And then, just as the mystery flying object took a turn, it vanished into thin air. That's suspicious. Nature's slate. Well, nothing like accidentally catching a giant sandman in the sky to get your morning started. The unique sight was captured by a tourist in a hotel in Israel. He was simply trying to record a bird's eye view of the surrounding skyscrapers when he noticed something moving at the very back. Although it's a little far off, you can make out a light outline reminiscent of a gust of wind. Except everything's utterly still, and the way the shape moves is similar to that of a mythical monster. It's also not a sandstorm, since everything else is relatively calm. And look, just as the cameraman finally traces its movements, the strange ball of sand suddenly moves out of the frame, almost as if it knows it's being filmed. At odds end. Imagine getting a ring alert on your doorbell camera, checking to see who came to visit you in the middle of the night, and it turns out to be aliens. This isn't the plot for some cutesy Martian movie, but a spooky scenario that took form just recently in England. It would be easy to argue this is just some light's reflection, right? But the way they're ceaselessly moving, and how amazingly in sync they are, it can't be something stationary. Of course, we'll have to consider the possibility that it's just a regular fleet. But since when do they make random trips at night? And that too in perfect sync. The way they're blinking, and the unnatural calmness about them, this might just be a group of aliens. Lost in a trance. Can animals hypnotize people? Maybe. Sorry, I got distracted. What was I talking about again? This is a stunning starling murmuration. It happens when birds unite in formation and begin moving in a hypnotizing way when they feel threatened. And although it's adorable to us, it's quite daunting for countless others. Murmurations can cast a shadow on the ground, so imagine being underneath it, knowing no idea why the sky just turned dark. Oh, and look, they're much more organized than half of us. Round the clock.
No. That's crazy. Flares, maybe? No, they're...
A few months ago, residents across Arizona and California captured an actual UFO making rounds. The video has been baffling people ever since because they just can't seem to make anything out of it. The weird flared UFO started as a single orb, but then split into two. The duo kept tango dancing for a while until they merged again, eventually morphing back into one entity and disappearing into the abyss. Now, my question is this. Even if it's a plane, why hasn't there been any talk about their peculiar movement? Plus, I'm quite sure pilots wouldn't randomly be flying into spirals now, would they? And if it is a UFO,
Flares, maybe?
why do we keep ignoring the
No,
signs? Devilish disguise. According to ancient Celtic culture and Japanese folklore, demonic creatures shapeshift into cloudy figures to keep watch over humans and strike when they're least expecting it. Sounds like a bunch of hogwash, doesn't it? Well, take a look at this cloudy figure. It's clearly got a mind of its own. Interestingly, this apparition was witnessed not only in Asian nations, but across Europe as well. But get this. Just as most witnesses tried to pull out their phones, the formation vanished until one man successfully captured it. What's eerie is that this cloud formation seems to move over the houses, as if it's literally inspecting them or trying to see who's inside. Chilling. Bug barrage. Forget black cats. If you encounter a mysterious swarm like this, it's time to step on that gas pedal or simply reverse. A small swarm would be enough. But my God, look at them! If you had your sunroof opened, it'd be a classy way of bidding farewell. Of course, the poor cars had no choice but to tough it out and gradually power through. But I'm pretty sure hundreds of them camped out in the car, effectively taking them from one localized area to bigger neighborhoods. Yep, nothing like accidentally contributing to a locust pandemic, am I right? But this happened back in 2020, when massive swarms of locusts went on a rampage, feasting across nations, and ravaged South Asia and parts of Africa. Well, as long as they're miles away from me. Cosmic comfort. You're watching a sighting that became a forefront for shocking UFO sightings. This is the pod UFO witnessed sometime in 2015 in Spain, and is still baffling scientists to this date. The mysterious object began suddenly hurtling toward the sky, and was luckily captured by countless amazed at the sight. A stabilized version shows the unique object resembling a pod with a glass case, almost as if someone or something was sitting inside. Although some were quick to point out its ergonomic design, suggesting it may have been man-made, local authorities confirmed there hasn't been any aerial visits at the time. This meant the pod had just appeared out of nowhere and seemingly vanished into the sea. Of course, rescue parties went to look for whatever it was, but came up with nothing. Open discussion. You know what's scarier than seeing a haunting black cloud accumulating in a matter of seconds? Something emerging from the eye of the dense cloud.
Left of this hail cone.
Initially, it was just a bright orb of light, and then it opened up and spread its wings. Literally, the sight was captured by a driver who realized the angelic being was floating just above a hill. Sadly, the camera was cut off, and now we don't know where this happened or where the glowing being disappeared to. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.